Hope I don't make any cuts this time. There we go. Not a hair in sight. No more Twitter controversy for you.
Zoos? Yesterday's news. You can look at that orangutan all day, it's still gonna be an orangutan when you get back. Come here, you little That's why in the realm of zoo games, you want your animals to be as interesting as possible. And no other zoo game has more interesting animals than Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. I was obsessed with this game when I was a kid. I just loved destroying the fences and letting the dinosaurs go on a rampage. You see, the thing is, don't let me run a zoo. Some people can get really obsessed over certain things, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Having an obsession can give you drive and passion to do the things that you love. Although, most of the time, it's not really a good thing. What was one of your first obsessions? What caused it in the first place? Was it a genuine love for that thing, or was it a warning that you had a few loose screws in your developmental stage? I liked this garbage? 2002, my parents bring home Disney's Tarzan on VHS. You remember those trailers they'd show before the movie starts? Of course you didn't, you skipped that shit. Well, this VHS had a trailer which awakened within me a primal fear buried deep within my DNA. You see that? It was scary, but it was so cool. This one trailer alone started an obsession in young me that would never go away. I would rewind that one trailer over and over, and I would watch it over and over, and I loved it, and I never got bored of it. It influenced my personality growing up, and I can't thank it enough. And the movie itself?
What you need is a little help from below, monkey.
We don't talk about dinosaurs. This trailer alone was my one exposure I had to dinosaurs. I think I do remember catching an episode of Zaboomafoo about dinosaurs, but that was really about it. Oh my god, can they show that on children's television? I also watched Barney. Oh my god, Barney just stole her purse!
Never a cop around when you need one.
Throughout kindergarten all the way up through high school, I was so sure that I wanted to become a paleontologist. Then I took a geology class, and hey, would you look at that, I got piano class next. Even though I didn't go on to be a paleontologist, my love for dinosaurs and prehistoric life in general never did go away. To this day, I still adore them with a passion and had the pleasure to go on a fossil hunt. Not for dinosaurs, but we did find old marine life, which is still so cool. I even drew some sketches in class of the images I would see in slideshows. Oh man, I am so sorry, I didn't put much effort into you. There we go, that's better. Nice big smile, we like to see that. Then I started to see other forms of dinosaur media. And then the more I saw, the more I wanted. The Flintstones movie, Walking with Dinosaurs, The Land Before Time, Dinosaur... Oh, that one wasn't very good. Dinosaur encyclopedias! And then there was the big one. Jurassic Park. Holy crap. As if I wasn't obsessed enough. Jurassic Park brought to me a feeling of joy, fear, and wonder that I had never felt in my life before. I love the original trilogy so much. Yes, even Jurassic Park 3. I am fully aware of its flaws, and for that very reason, I love it to death. I will die on this hill! It is an amazing B-movie that is my guilty pleasure. I love this pelican. These three movies became a staple in my life, and I only wish I could have been there for the premieres of the movies in theaters back then. And Jurassic World?
We don't talk about Jurassic World.
Of course, when Jurassic Park came out, it caused a huge uproar in mainstream public interest in dinosaurs, the likes unseen since the dinosaur renaissance in the late 1960s. And with the mainstream public comes merchandise. That's right, they slapped it on a plastic lunchbox and, as you would have guessed, made some movie-licensed games. There were a lot of Jurassic Park games. Just looking at the list of how many there were released in the 90s alone, it really shows how popular the IP was. And they didn't stop making them long after Jurassic Park 3. Playing any Jurassic Park game, you can't go wrong. No! Some were better than others, but Jurassic Park Operation Genesis was my go-to game of the time. You ever watched Jurassic Park and thought, wow, John Hammond is an idiot. I could have done that much better. Well, in Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, you can do just that. Released in 2003, Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, or JPOG for short, was a tycoon game where you can build and manage your very own Jurassic Park. I was always a big fan of tycoon games. I grew up with the likes of Zoo Tycoon, SimCity, and Roller Coaster Tycoon. I just always have loved the creativity concept of these games. So when I saw a tycoon game had existed where you could build your own Jurassic Park, It goes without saying I was pretty ecstatic. This game was met with praise and still has an active fanbase to this day, inspiring the releases of Jurassic World Evolution 1 and 2 and even some indie-made dinosaur tycoon games like Prehistoric Kingdom. So enough background, let's just get right into it. To start off, you choose an island while John Hammond gives you the rundown.
And I am in charge of InGen.
Get into your island, find a nice place to start off, plop down in your visitor center, and really it's up to you to design and build the park to your liking. The world is your oyster. Of course, remembering to keep in mind that you have a limited budget and that you need to stay in the green. Otherwise, the members at InGen get mad at you and threaten to shut you down. So let's start with some amenities. Let's pop some bathrooms. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the first thing I do when I get off a flight is take a trip to the little boys' room, so let's put them right up front. Set up your paths and fences. And voila, we've got our first dinosaur. Over here we've got the Albertosaurus, whose roar totally isn't the Spinosaurus roar pitched up.
Oh, that's not normal.
The sriracha bottle's right here. Dang it. Having a successful park is one of the best feelings you can have. And by holding the space bar, you can actually see how your dinosaurs and guests are feeling about it. You begin with 2 dinosaur species to clone from, and by hiring dig teams, you're able to look for dinosaur bones, ambers, really anything to extract DNA from. From these, you're allowed to clone more dinosaur species. The more dinosaurs and the wider variety of dinosaur species you have, the higher your park ranking gets. The goal is to get 5 stars, and the more stars you have, the more opportunities you can have to get dig teams and dig sites. A fun and creative concept for the time, but of course it doesn't come without its flaws. You can only unlock 5 dig sites and there's a population limit of 60 dinosaurs that you can have. You are extremely limited to the amount of things you can put in the park. I barely have any stars, the park isn't anywhere near finished, and I've already reached the limit of trash cans I can place. Which isn't helpful because these guests litter if they don't see a trash can within their peripheral vision. This really sucks because when your park gets big, you really want to go all out with it. But the limits that this game places on you really hinders your imagination. There is an exploit where you can change the limits for these things in the configuration files, but if you're playing on console, that's not an option. I can maybe understand the hardware limitations at the time. Having 100 dinosaurs on a computer that looks like this probably isn't a good idea, but that doesn't explain why you start off with such little money. I went bankrupt multiple times before I was able to get a park that was stable and making any sort of income. Let me show you what I mean. You start off with a balance of $60,000. Place down a visitor center, that's $5,000. Place down your first roads, approximately another $5,000. Build your first enclosure, that's another $5,000. Build a hatchery, $6,000. Each Parasaurolophus costs around $3,200. Finish placing the roads, make the enclosures nice and habitable, place down amenities, securities, custodians, attractions. Before you know it, your balance looks like the average American's bank account after visiting the doctor.
All they did was give me a cough drop.
Maybe I'm just playing the game wrong, but by the time I have some basic park set up, I'm almost out of money and not making any profit, typically leading to me selling off dinosaur bones, causing me to lose out on precious DNA points, which you need to ensure your dinosaurs have a long lifespan. At any point in time, there may be a twister or a dinosaur might break out, and if you're not quick enough to sound the alarm, you could lose tons of money to pay off insurance fees. And the fact that these dig sites keep running low on fossils fast is not helping. Like I mentioned before, all these issues can be circumvented by just simply editing the configuration files in the directory for the game, but if you're playing on console or simply just don't know what you're doing, it really limits your creativity. I remember when I was a kid reaching the 60 dinosaur limit, and it was so annoying that I couldn't expand my park. Especially considering that there was so much island space left. Like, what am I supposed to do with all this? If park building is not your forte, then there's Site B mode, where you can let the dinosaurs roam around at will and simply observe them like a nature documentary. You can call a site like that a nature documentary. I've been watching too much Jurassic Fight Club. I used to love just putting carnivores next to each other and watching them fight. Now I know I said I liked Jurassic Park 3, but being able to redeem the T-Rex fight against the Spinosaur is one of the coolest things you can do. So yeah, the game really hasn't aged well. The dinosaur AI is kinda stupid. The guests will leave without even seeing any dinosaurs when there's literally dinosaurs everywhere. Weird little errors and design choices here and there.
I don't know why they use a PNG of Dr. Grant here, but Dr. Henry Wu, which they misspelled, has Harry Wu, has some weird 3D rendered model here. He looks like Better Call Saul. Like that picture of him where he's just like staring. Like
And it really doesn't function well on these new modern systems we have.
Oh no, not again.
By using cheat codes and editing the configuration files and using mods, Jurassic Park Operation Genesis becomes a pretty fun game to play, and that's probably why I remember liking it so much. So if you're going to be playing this game anytime soon, do yourself a favor, look up a tutorial on how to change the config files. It's such a world of difference. Jurassic Park Operation Genesis still lives on to this day, with an active fan base creating mods for it, giving it new life. The community surrounding this game is not going anywhere anytime soon. Jurassic Park is always going to remain one of my most beloved franchises. The trilogy is always going to have a place in my heart. Yes, the trilogy. There are only 3 movies. Jurassic World. Oh, you mean The Lost World. Right, it's a common mistake. It happens all the time.